Hi everybody, I am Lauren Yost. I am your professor for this semester, teaching microbiology. The purpose of this video is basically to get you oriented with how the Canvas course is set up, so you won't need to be searching around as much and just trying to find what's what and where, everything like that. So that's the goal with this video, as well as to orient you with basically what's expected in the course, the assignments, and all of that. Hopefully help ease you into that whole process a little bit more easily. So let's get started. Okay, so this is basically what your home page of Canvas is going to be looking like. We can, let's see, my laser pointer, look at the different parts here on the screen to see what is a little bit more important than others. I will say this, that when we look on the front of this page, we have the announcement section at the top. You also have a tab at the left side up here. So the recent announcements, you really need to keep track of these. You should be getting alerts in your email whenever I post an announcement. You need to have those notifications set up in your email because it's my primary way of letting you know when a date changes for something, if something is due that's coming up, if we have to meet in a different area because there's construction, something like that. So this is, or if I'm sick and I won't be able to make it, so you don't have class that day, whatever it is, this announcement section is where you're going to find that information. So very important to be familiar with it. Next, the syllabus. You can click on that link over at the side. You also have like down here where it says syllabus, no matter what. It's going to take you to the page that has the actual like downloadable files for the syllabi, basically. And you'll need to, because the way that I have the course set up, I have all of my sections into one course. You'll need to be sure that you are selecting the correct section. And I have not just put the section numbers, no worries. I've also put, like, if you are Monday, Wednesday traditional in the morning, or if you're hybrid, or if you're Tuesday, Thursday morning, or if you're Tuesday, Thursday evening. And that pretty much covers all my sections. So it should be laid out in a way that you can find your syllabus pretty easily. The syllabus will have everything as far as it'll have requirements for the course. It'll have the schedule for what to expect from day to day, literally in the course for lectures as well as for the lab, exam dates and distributions of points and everything like that. So that's where you will go for that information. So the syllabus. Next, the assignments, little tab or whatever on the left, will show you all of the assignments. I think I'm going to show you a little window in a little bit of what it looks like if you click that. But there's also over here at the right the to-do. And the to-do basically is going to have all of the assignments that are, you need to do for your course on the right in order of when they would be due. So the top is going to be whenever they're most soon due. This is images taken from my summer semester, so it's a little bit different from what you guys are going to have. But you get the idea. So yeah, that should keep you on track with when things are due. I may change dates and times for things, and I will let you know ahead of time, but people forget. So just be sure you're actually looking at when it is due. For example, look here, pre-lab 1. It says that this person's pre-lab 1 is due on June 5th at 10 a.m. Don't expect it to always be midnight, because it's not always going to be midnight like the night before or something. Sometimes there's times on there that you need to be aware of as well. So don't just go by dates. Be sure you're looking at times sometimes too, okay? Most of the time, pre-labs are the ones that are biggies like that, where you're going to want to have your pre-lab done by when we're actually going to lab. You want to have it done before lab, and so that's why the times are set up the way they are for those. But that stuff you'll get into as we go through things. Next, we have the modules tab thing over here. We're at modules now. That's where like the whole course is going to be set up. With your assignments and divided by chapters and units and everything like that, so you can find what you're needing to work on. If you have an assignment, let's say that you're in my hybrid course and you have an assignment that says that you need to provide evidence for participating in this chapter. Traditional people, you get evidence for participating in the chapter by showing up to class and participating whenever we do our questions exercises, which, surprise, in my class I will be calling on people to answer questions during the class, but by name. So be ready for that every day. So that's what they are going to be going through. But the online folks, you'll get used to it. I promise you. It won't be a big deal. It's not as big a deal as you're going to try to make it out to be. I promise. Anyways, the hybrid people, I can't do that for them. So you guys have your own assignments that you'll have to complete as evidence for participating in the chapter, and that's going to be completing the Kahoot quizzes, which we do still use in the traditional course as a review. But they will do it and take a picture of it and then upload that picture. So, but you'll have an assignment out here on the to-do that'll say like evidence of chapter 2, and you'll go click on that and it won't have the link to the Kahoot because you have to go to the modules and find the link where it's all laid out in order for you. And I'll show you what I mean here in a little bit, I promise. So the other thing is course materials. This is where you're going to need to click on to connect to your McAfee, because the thing keeps popping up on my computer for that. McGraw-Hill and all of this. Yeah, you have a link on there for McGraw-Hill Connect as well, but in order to actually link your account with your first day program for having paid for all your resources, you have to click on course materials, and you'll access, you'll go in there and make sure that everything is set up there. There's not really much to do with it, but you do need to just be sure that you have everything confirmed that it's been taken care of. Course materials first will get you set up for being able to go into McGraw-Hill Connect or your online lab manual, the Top Hat lab manual. So that's what ours is, a digital lab manual for this course. So cool. All right, so this is just looking at announcements. Basically, if you click into the actual tab, it'll just show you all of the announcements and what you need to know. There are some that you're going to see pretty much right off the bat that you'll want to read. So just be sure that when you are accessing the course, which you are right now if you're watching this, but when you're accessing the course, that you are actually reading all the announcements that are there, because you'll want all of this to have at least glanced over it. So there's like a little welcome to microbiology rundown. There's missing units. Why can't I see unit 1 and unit 2 and unit 3? Because you have to complete the first up unit, everything that it says you need to complete in there before it will let you access anything else in the course. Letting you know that exams, all of them will be in person. There are no Proctor U tests in my course, not even for my hybrid students. Y'all are going to have to come to campus to take your test. There will be a sign up for those if you're hybrid. There'll be a sign up for days and times. Typically, those are going to be either right after your lab. You'll have a chance to take it then, or you can take it with one of my other sections. And don't worry, we'll talk about that when we get a little bit closer. But just heads up, you are going to be taking that on campus. Zoom, there's a link for Zoom. We do a lot of stuff online, like our reviews are all online. And if you're in my hybrid course, of course, then we're going to be meeting more online than we are in person, because you guys are, I'll see you in lab, but like there will be other, lecture related stuff that we'll have to do on Zoom. We have, never mind. Well, we're going to get to it. I don't want to jump ahead. Then this down here, text lab manual access, is basically just telling you how to access your textbook and your lab manual, which is through first going to that course materials, basically. So it shouldn't be too difficult, but read the stuff that's up there already, please. Next, this is what you'll see with the syllabus link. Ours is a little bit different for this semester because I have multiple sections. This is set up for just one section. So it'll just have this crap up here, and then we'll have some links. Instead of saying click here, it'll say literally like 60653, Monday, Wednesday morning, traditional. So you'll know, oh yeah, I'm the Monday, Wednesday morning. I'm taking traditional, I'm not hybrid. So I know to click on that. So just, yeah, pretty much that. It should be pretty clear. It won't pop up at the bottom like this either, because I can't have all 4 of them popping up. That'd be ridiculous. They're 8 pages long, so it's just nuts. So you will have to click on yours to access it. But let's walk through the syllabus just briefly, okay? It's going to talk about instruction materials. That's just telling you guys that we have Canvas, we have lectures. In this case, this is my in-person class one that I put on here. So this is my traditional Monday, Wednesday class. Yeah, lectures will be in person, and for Monday, Wednesday mornings, that's going to be in Science Building 101, for example. So that has that information there. You're going to need to use McGraw-Hill Connect. We have a laboratory stuff where you're going to have to wear your lab coat and closed-toed shoes, and we have our digital lab manual and top hat. Then we have a recording and posting materials. You're not supposed to do it. In case you guys didn't know, you're not supposed to just record my lectures and then like share them with whoever. So that's their warning, I guess. I don't know. Evaluation techniques. This is literally just telling you how you're going to be graded on these assignments that you're about to have. With lecture engagement, if you are a hybrid student, that means going through those Kahoot. They're just 10-question Kahoots, and it's not for like, I'm not grading you based on how well you do. I'm grading you on your participation. You're welcome. But basically, it's the same thing. If you are in my in-person classes, we will have every day 10 questions about 10 questions about the stuff that we're lecturing as we're going. So it's usually going to be in blocks. So like 10 questions in the middle. Sorry, 5 questions in the middle, 5 questions at the end for a total of 10. And I will be calling on people randomly. I'll be pulling your name out. Your name's going to be on popsicle sticks, and I'm going to pull your name out of a little container and say, hey, okay, so what color is the sky? It's not going to be that easy, obviously, but something over what we're lecturing, like what is peptidoglycan? And then you would have to say, oh, that's what makes up the bacterial cell wall. If you're paying attention to the lecture, you should be able to at least recall some of that information. If you're not, you might be unsure. I highly recommend that you at least still make a guess that has to do with stuff that we've been lecturing over. So do your best to make the guess, and you'll still get points for, you'll still get credit for having participated in the class, right? So the problem really is if you don't know the answer, sometimes you just don't know, right? So and you might just admit that. I will then give it up for your group to answer the question. Your group, which groups will be assigned, and you'll be assigned them by the time that they'll be assigned by the time you get on campus, and you'll be working with that group for the rest of your semester in the lecture portion of the course. You're welcome to use that same group for the lab as well. But I don't care. Do whatever you want for the lab, but you have to use this group that I've assigned you for the lecture. But yes, so if you don't get the question, anybody in your group can answer it for full credit at that point. Which is fine. And if they don't know it either, then they don't get that point. And what do I mean by point? It's not for your grade. In that instance, now then you're vying for extra credit points. So we'll go over that a little bit in class whenever you guys get there. This is for the traditional people only. If you're hybrid, you have a different opportunity for extra credit in this situation. Just be aware of that. But all the traditional people, you're getting called on in class, or in some cases, I'll just call on a group, like, okay, group alpha. This is the question. Anybody in your group can answer it and get points. If you consistently refuse to participate in the questions, like if you just always just are never answering them, and for every single time that I call on you, or when your group is called on, you just never participate in it, then I will remove all of your attendance points for the course, for that unit. So if you don't participate with Unit 1's questions at all, then you might lose all of your attendance points for that. And that is part of your grade. It's not a ton of it, it's 5% of your grade, but do you want to risk that? This is a notoriously difficult course, and I'm imagining that you probably want as many of these cushion points as you can get. So just at least try. That's all I'm asking. All right. You don't always have to have that right answer. Just attempt to answer it based on what we're doing. All right. Okay. That's lecture engagement. Chapter quizzes, pretty self-explanatory. There's quizzes. You have to have them done before the exam. So if it's Unit 1 chapters quizzes, you have to have them done before Unit 1 exam. Unit projects, before Unit 1 exam, you and your group will have to design basically a project, and we'll go over it in a little more detail in a second. It's basically a review project that everybody's group, each one is going to have a topic they're going to present on. When you're in hybrid, you will just be posting these on the discussion board. I mean, there's not much else I can do for that because we don't meet in lecture situations, but you will be posting them for everybody to see. And I mean, it will be probably visible to all sections, so be aware of that. So that's the unit projects, and we'll have lecture exams, duh. I mean, they're going to be multiple choice, 50 questions, except for the final is comprehensive. It's the only one that's comprehensive, and it will be 100 questions. And it'll be in person, so that will be a lockdown browser. You'll need a laptop or your tablet. Pre-lab exercises, some questions you have to answer about the lab in your lab manual. You'll have to answer them there. So be aware of that. You'll have a prompt on Canvas, like, hey, you need to do your pre-lab questions, but you can't answer them in Canvas. You have to go to TopHack to answer them. All right, in-lab participation. There's little dry erase worksheets that we'll be doing in lab, like basically answering about your results in the lab and like hypotheticals related to it and all of that stuff. And even looking at other people's results. And so you'll write that down, dry erase onto those forms, and then you will take a picture of it and upload it into Top Hat. Again, you'll have a due date on Canvas, but you still have to upload it into Top Hat. Your assignment says that, so it's not a surprise or something. Yeah, then we have post-lab quizzes. These actually are in Canvas, so it's just quizzes about labs, 5 questions, multiple choice, okay? The unknown lab, we're going to go through the unknown lab report as well, but it's basically something we're going to be working on from day 1 in the lab. You're going to get unknown bacteria of 2 different kinds, gram-positive and gram-negative. You'll know what that means soon. But a gram-positive and a gram-negative, and you're just trying to figure out what they are the whole semester. And I'll walk you through it all, no worries. And then you'll turn in your results at the end of the lab, at the end of the semester. So yeah, so we're actually doing something the whole semester. We're actually working towards a goal. Like, we're not just doing random experiments. We're actually like getting information about something and then using that to apply it to what's this bacteria I've been working with all lab. So I think it's kind of cool, but anyways. And then we have extra credit. Like I said, we have the lecture one for traditional. It's going to be based on participation in class questions in your groups, right? It's all group based there, so whichever group ends up being the winner gets 100% of the points. If you're second place, you get 90% of the points. If your group comes in third place, 80, and so on and so forth. It's listed on the Canvas assignment for these extra credits, how that's broken down. There's like a rubric or something for it. So yeah, just be aware of that. So that is for the traditional people. For the online people, your lecture extra credit is going to be, you are welcome to do an extra unit group project, but you'll do it as an individual. So if you had your topic was over bacteria last time, and you want to get your extra credit for unit 1, maybe you do a unit project, same guidelines about viruses, and you just whatever the choices are on that assignment. There's 6 for every assignment. Just pick one of the ones you didn't do, and then make basically a project for that. And like I said, they're mostly like review helpers. Just see what I'm going to go over them. But yes, so those are your choices for the lecture. There's also extra credit based on if you complete everything in the course. And what I mean is you have no zeros, no missing assignments, and no makeup work that wasn't validated by you have a doctor's note or something like that. Okay, so verifiable absences, you can still achieve this. If you have an absence and you were just like, oh, my kid was sick and you didn't send me any evidence of it, that does not count. So that would be, you'd lose, you don't get that extra credit. And this is either you got it or you don't. You don't get partial credit for this one. And then there's another opportunity for extra credit, which is going to be filling out those course evaluation questions, telling us about how much you hated that we had to have a lab manual and all that. So yeah, artificial intelligence policy, we might use AI. I might allow the use of AI for certain things, but if I'm asking you to turn in a group project or answer questions on your lab project or something like that, where it is very, obviously you're supposed to be doing that work, write it yourself and work through it yourself in your words, you are not supposed to be using AI for that, okay? And if I am suspicious that you have used AI and wrote this elaborate explanation of, bacterial cell walls or something, and there's all this information that we didn't even go over in class. People do this all the time. And I'm not kidding, like all the time people will turn in stuff, writing all this really elaborate stuff about like the chemistry of something and like the structure of it, and then they are just like incompetent on that subject when you talk to them in real life. Guys, that's AI that did that for you. I'm not stupid. So don't do that. Don't be that person, or I will ask you if I'm suspicious and you submitted something like that, then I'll ask you to explain to me why you wrote that answer the way that you did. And I mean the science behind it. So just be aware of that. I'm happy to call you out. Anyways, syllabus. So this is your breakdown of the percentages. We have your lecture engagement, 5%, chapter quizzes, unit projects altogether are worth 10% of your grade. Each exam 8, and then the final is 11, so it's worth more. That should be worth more, right? I mean, that's got everything in it. Proof to me that you learned what you're supposed to learn. That's what the exams are for. Pre-lab questions, in-lab worksheets, post-lab quizzes. The quizzes have a little bit higher weight than the other stuff because you're actually applying the information, right? Then we have the lab midterm, 8, just like the other ones. The lab final is going to be 10, unknown project, 10, all together for 100%. So that's the breakdown of the points. In my course, an 89.5 is an A. So that's the case for all of those sections. So like 69.5 is what you got to get if you want to pass this course. Okay. Let's see. All right, so this is just a breakdown of like the important dates. So we've got the campus dates that are important. We've got the lecture dates that were important and the lab dates that are important. So campus should be notifying you of all of these. This should not be news. But yeah, we have that. Okay. This is, so like, why does this say this? So this is a layout of the lecture. This is an example for my Monday, Wednesday people. When we're talking about this in the case of the hybrids, your exams are going to be locked in place. When you have your group projects due, will be locked in place. But I don't care that if you go over your chapter 1 stuff on Monday, August 19th, do it whenever you get to it. Okay, so you do whatever you want, but this is what we will be going over in my lecture course in person. These are the chapters we'll be hitting on those days. And all this is telling you what is happening when, if we have Labor Day, for example, on Monday, September 2nd, right? That knocks out that Monday for my Monday, Wednesday people, and shifts your schedule because of it, right? I don't like having that happen whenever that affects like, oh, now the Tuesday, Thursday people are the first ones to, I don't like having to shift that. So when Monday, Wednesday has something that affects their schedule, it will affect Tuesday, Thursday as well. Meaning if there is Labor Day, no class on Monday, there will be, an equivalent on the Tuesday. You won't have class is what I'm saying on that Tuesday. And it'll say that in your schedule. And that's the truth for the Tuesday stuff too. So if there's like, something that happens on a Tuesday and that blocked everything and now Monday had to get shifted, it's just going to be the same. So I just like to keep everything on the schedule so that you know what to predict and it's easier for me to manage it, right? So here's all the exams and the dates that they'll be on. Again, this will all be in Canvas, already on there saying when they're going to be at and all that. So it's already put in place on Canvas, but it's also on the syllabus in the schedule. And you can also download this separately, just the schedule if you want to. All right, this is the lab schedule. I try to kind of correlate it to how we set up the lecture schedule so you kind of can see where things are at any given week. We don't have lab the first week, and I will send out an announcement about that to remind you guys about it. But no lab the first week. We will come into lab. Our first day of lab is Monday, 8/26, or Tuesday, 8/27, if you are the Tuesday, Thursday people. So yeah, we'll go through lab. This is lab stuff. I don't know what else to say about it. Cool. Cool. There's a set. There it is. Here's the exams for lab and kind of when they're going to be. They will be in person. They will be Scantron. I will provide the Scantrons, bring your pencil, and it's like in person, like you go to station to station to station and answer questions. So it's all multiple choice. I don't like reading people's handwriting for exams. So assignments are one thing, but exams, like, they matter so much more. I don't want to have something come up because I can't read your handwriting. So no, I just do multiple choice. And then your little to-do thing, like I said, is going to tell you what you need to be doing on what day and when it's due and what time. That was on the right-hand side if you didn't see. So you can, when you go to assignments, if you click on that link on the left-hand side of Canvas, it will open it up as show by date, and they'll list all of your assignments, literally all of them, by date in order of when they're going to be due. So you can look ahead and kind of work on things in order if it's not popping up on the other side or whatever, however you like it organized. Or you can click on show by type, and then it will break it down by, okay, these are all your lecture quizzes, these are your unit projects, and whatever, if you like to look at it that way. Or if I'm like telling you, oh, you needed to look at that, you need to go back and read blah, blah, blah on the Unit 3 project link or whatever, then you know how to access that a little bit better. It would be by, show by type. I also have these things set up in the, modules. we'll go over that. All right, these are our unit group projects. Really quick, groups will choose projects they want to complete and to display their mastery of their topic. Okay, let's say your topic happened to be, describing bacteria. I don't know. Then you would focus only on that topic and everything relating to that topic, sure. But is your goal to set up basically a kind of comprehensive review item that potentially your peers could be using as a study guide for that topic, just that topic, all right? Your group will put this together and work on it together. It could be an actual tangible thing, like an actual poster board poster, or you can make a digital poster, I don't care. You can have like building a model that's tangible, or setting up a little storyline that's digital. I don't care. So as long as you are hitting all of the boxes of what you are supposed to be reviewing over, these are some ideas of what you could do for your group project. We have the figure-based poster. So like if you had like a brainstorm map, and so your group would then present it to your course. If you're in the traditional group, you would present it on our presentation day for these, and your group would explain the whole poster, okay, and what each thing is meaning and what you're supposed to be getting for it. All right. Or you can do handouts, kind of self-explanatory, outline-based, outline the topics, and then you will walk us through what the outline's for. Then, or you could do presentation. You could do in person or recorded. You could do PowerPoint, or you could do, writing on a whiteboard. I don't care. Guided quiz means putting a quiz together about that content and then actually walking everybody through that. Okay, number 5, this says blah, 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 blah. Let's see, what do we think the answer is to that? And then talking about why that's the answer. Yeah, and then building models. Literally, like you can build a model of a cell and something and then point at each part of it or things like that. And then story adaptation, write a little story about how Sally was walking through the body and saw the bacteria and what she saw and how it was acting with the body and how the immune system was, whatever. I don't care how you approach it, but get creative, whatever topic you're assigned, and that's what we're going to present. So there'll be 6 groups in most of the classes, unless you have a smaller class, 4 people, and your group will work together to put these together as well as to present them to the class, and then I will grade you on a rubric. You can see the rubric in that project. You can see the rubric on that project that is available on that assignment. There it is on Canvas. So if you're wanting to look ahead. The other one is the disease presentation. Now for Unit 4, Units 1 through 3, we have each unit has their group project. Okay, Unit 4 is an individual project, and they're due a little bit differently. So you'll actually have to have your presentation put together by Unit 4 instead of at the end of Unit 4, because in the traditional classes, we are going to be presenting about your disease that you choose. You individually will be presenting about the disease that you choose. There's a link to sign up for whatever disease you want, and everybody can only have one disease for the whole semester, like everybody in the whole semester. So there won't be somebody in one section talking about COVID and in another section talking about COVID. Everybody's different. So anyways, you will come and present about your disease, and there's a whole outline of like what it needs to have in the slides, and then you come and present. It's like a 5-minute presentation. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, but you just want to include the information that is listed in the assignment. And you will talk, if you chose a skin-based disease like MRSA, then you will talk on the skin chapter day, for example. This is an example of all of the slides for one of my better students, Paula Schwab. She was in, I don't know, it was like over a year ago now, but a year and a half ago I had her. Anyway, she's in actual veterinary school now to be a veterinarian, and she was one of my best students, very engaged in everything. And you can see it's not like super fancy. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be over the top. There is a recording that one of my summer students did, not this summer, but the summer before. That was one of my best presentations of all time. It's not perfect as far as information. It has some flaws in that stuff, but I would have never given her any points off because she did such a great job and she clearly learned the material. This, when you guys present this, the bigger aspect of this is to show me that you learned about tetanus, that you learned about botulism or gonorrhea or whatever disease that you chose, right? So be aware of that. That's the more important thing. that you are displaying was a mastery, right? You're displaying your understanding of it. If you are sitting here and presenting your material and you are reading your slide, tetanus is a severe and potentially life-threatening bacterial infection that affects, the nervous system. I can't read it on the screen, so it's so tiny. But you get the idea, right? If you're just reading the slide, get out of here. I can read a slide too. Well, I guess I'm a professor. It's kind of a part of it's my job, but I don't really read my slides, really, if I'm being honest. But I guess my point, you guys know what my point is. If you're just reading the slides, just read me Harry Potter. Like, what is the point in you even reading that? Like, did you learn anything? No. So don't do that, maybe, when you do your presentations. And I'll remind you of all this, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves with that. Show me that you actually learned about your disease. You don't have to be an expert on it. I'm not an expert on most of the things that I talk about. Wow. But I'm really not. And so you talk about what you did learn about it. Anyways, this is the lab project that I was telling you about. We'll start it from the beginning of the semester. We'll do all these tests, stains, tests, growing on weird media. Does it grow on this? Does it not grow on this? What color did that change? Did this color change? And all that through the whole semester with your 2 unknown gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. And that's what this is. And then we will have this is what you'll turn in at the end. We have a little checklist of all of your results that you'll be getting. For each of your sample, gram-positive, was it positive or negative for blah, blah, blah. And then your gram-negative, was it positive or negative for those same tests. Yes, and then we have some questions about your gram-positive and then your gram-negative. So that's all that's going to be. Those won't be due until the end of the semester, but we'll be filling out basically the information on this form the entire semester from like the first lab, pretty much. Okay. And then at the end of that, it also has a question asking you to explain 2 tests that we'll do, but that'll make more sense when we get in the lab. All right, this is the modules. This is kind of what I was talking about. When you click on modules on the left side of Canvas, this is what you'll get. The first thing that you're going to see is the first up module, and on that it says complete all items. You need to be completing all of the items that have this little circle on there. Now yours might be changed whenever it is updated, because I'm going to have it required that you watch this video. Surprise, I'm sure you figured that out. But yeah, you need to be sure that you're hitting all these little guys in that module. Otherwise, you won't be able to open up the other modules. And it's not going to be an excuse if we have something due in the Unit 1 module and you just never did the first up stuff and your Unit 1 stuff is late. No, do it. Do it now. So don't wait until the last second, please. Just knock it out. Get all of them done, and it'll open up the other units. If you're confused about it, just email me. Study. Whatever. Okay, so yeah, so there's an integrity statement, a syllabus quiz, and the lab safety document. I'm also going to be including the lab safety video as a requirement, and this video as well, so that you guys will have seen that stuff. Hopefully it won't be too hard for you to at least open the crap, and it knocks it off if you just open it. So yeah, so those will be those requirements. Yes, so after you get your first up module done, then you will have your unit modules below that. Unit 1, they'll be organized as your unit sheet, and then kind of like, oh yeah, see, like this is what I'm saying. This'll, you can't open this until you get all that done, right? So you can't get any of this, like what you're supposed to learn in Unit 1 or any of the slides or anything until you do the first up module, right? So anyways, this study sheet, my study sheet, where it says study sheet, is basically, it says a guide, right? It's a guide for Unit 1 exam. It is a guide, okay? People think that I'm going to give them the study sheet. I don't know where they get the idea, because I tell them this is not what this is. This is not a word for word, the only thing that's going to be on the test. Not a word for word, okay? These are the concepts that will be on the test, okay? It's a guide for what you need to study conceptually. Now, we'll go over it here in a minute, but I'll just wait till we go over it to go over that, but whatever. My exams are all written based on that study sheet. There will be no questions that didn't come from that study sheet. I've had students complain and say, this study sheet was not helpful at all. I memorized the whole thing and I didn't do well on an exam. That's why you didn't do well, because you don't memorize that sheet. You need to understand the sheet. Right. If you memorize bacteria have peptidoglycan cell walls. And I ask you, all right, what's peptidoglycan? Why don't they have this kind of cell wall? And how do you know? And stuff like that. If you can't answer these questions about those, then you ain't studying. So keep that in mind. So the study sheet is a guide to help guide you on your study journey. But questions will not come, if there is something in the textbook about, some other random topic that isn't on the study sheet, I will not be studying. I will not be testing you on that. That's what the point is of this. It's help narrow that down. People will be like, this didn't narrow it down at all. It's on all the stuff that's on the PowerPoint. You want to guess how many of those PowerPoint slides I cut out? You're welcome. So anyways, that's the idea. That's a guide for what you're going to be tested over and what you need to be understanding, okay? Not memorizing. Okay, so whatever. In each section, chapter 1, lecture content, basically you would click on that and it has my pre-recorded lecture videos, usually from the previous semester. So there might be talk of like, hey, be sure that you get your assignment turned in by 10 p.m. tonight. Be aware that that isn't for you. That isn't for you. That is an old lecture. So they're previous lectures. I try to update them with the previous semester's ones as they get better. I feel like a bit more succinct and they're not as blah, blah, blah. So, but they are like that. And there's some older pre-recorded lectures in there as well that are a lot more wordy. And you'll see what I mean if you watch those. But stick to the info on the study sheet. If it's not on the study sheet, I don't care if it's in my video, the old ones. If it's not on the study sheet, you do not need to know it, okay? All right. So you also have the slides that will go with that. So yeah, so this top one, chapter 1, lecture content, you click on that, it has the video. It also has like a little mini rundown of the chapter. Below that, the chapter 1 slides, and it'll say slides whenever you guys get to it. But chapter 1 slides, so you can follow along or use that for your study guide, like help study the information or whatever, make your notes on it, like that sort of stuff. And then here we have, for the hybrid course only, your participation evidence. There will be Kahoot links in here, right above that evidence thing. It's or below it, I'm not sure how I'm putting it, but there'll be a Kahoot link, it's literally just a link that you click on. It takes you to Kahoot and you answer 10 questions. And you have to take a screenshot of having completed it if you're in the hybrid course, and then you'll upload it there if you're in the hybrid course, not for the traditional course, okay? You'll have if you're traditional, you'll still have the links for you to study, but they will not be a requirement for you guys. And then we have the chapter 1 quiz. All right, so that's basically all put together, and then the next one is chapter 3, and the next one, and so on and so on. So that's how that's organized, right? So it's all going to be chapter 1. I actually, because on my syllabus, I have chapter 1 and 3 together as one unit, it's kind of being lectured over on one day. These will be all together in one clump, chapters 1 and 3, but otherwise it's the same. So your study guide, like I said, it's your golden ticket. You'll be tested only over the concepts in that study sheet, okay? That study sheet. It's just a guide. It's not a direct cheat sheet. It doesn't have literally every little word that you would ever need to know on there. That's what, what does have that? It's the textbook. So no, I've cut out a lot of stuff from the textbook and told you what you will need to know, but it's basically telling you what you need to know in more detail from the text or the lectures or whatever it is. So generally speaking, if I don't lecture about the details for it, then it's not going to be on the test. So that's another way to look at that too. Right, so don't want to just memorize things and not understand it. You want to actually take the time to understand those things so that you can apply it to questions. So if this is one from the actual study sheet, by the way, this is pulled straight from there. It literally says amphipathic means it has both hydrophobic and hydrophilic qualities. Now, if you're one of those people that just hovers over that study sheet and expects memorization to somehow make you all-knowing and omnipotent and everything, hey, that's not going to work for you. Do you know what hydrophobic and hydrophilic are? Right? So if you don't know what those terms mean and how you could even have both of them, then knowing that amphipathic has both of those isn't really going to do you a lot of good. If I say, will the amphipathic molecule react with water this way or that way? And you're just like, I don't know. But the thing said it got these two terms with it. It's not going to help you. So you need to understand what it means. Make sense? I hope so. Hope it does. All right, this is what the study sheet looks like. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just to give you an idea. You see chapter 1 and chapter 3, pretty short little guys. Even chapter 2, not so bad. But look at chapter 4, and it's still not done. It goes all the way over to this next page because that's a new topic. So there's going to be more content associated with topics that are like newer to you. Be aware of that. It's not going to be equally distributed. So how do you think the test questions are going to go? You're going to have more of them from chapter 4 than you would from like chapter 1, right? Be aware of that. They're not equally distributed. So this is the Kahoot thing. You'll click on one of those links for Kahoot that's already in the modules, and it'll look like this. And all you'll have to do is enter your nickname, and then you can just start answering questions. So there's where you enter that. Literally just enter your nickname in, Joe Schmo, and then now you're answering questions about it, and you can just select whatever your answer is. Based on that. So how do we define microorganisms? Too small to be seen with the naked eye, and whatever. And then, you answer your questions and you get your answer and you post. That's what you would take a picture of to post for your credit if you're a hybrid student. Okay, modules. It also has an area for the lab documents and worksheets. It pretty much has everything for your lab stuff. I'll have it separated by your general handouts, worksheets for the first half of the lab, pre-midterm, and worksheets and stuff for the second half of the lab, pre-final, right? So those will all be kind of separated out by that. But I will occasionally refer to, be sure you print out the eukaryote worksheet, and you'll, I usually post it in the announcements as well, but in case I don't, this is where you go to find these things, okay? Cool, we did it. All right, course materials. Yeah, like that's, or I feel like I've already said this a million times, but that's where you're going to get access. You have to be sure that your first day program has granted you access to McGraw-Hill and to Top Hat. That's where you're checking on that, okay? Course materials. That way you can access your digital lab manual and your textbook as you need to throughout the course. It's sometimes a little tricky getting set up for that, so if it is an issue, just let me know. I'll walk through it with everybody, and if it affects any due dates or anything, that's not on you. We'll get it taken care of, okay? There's also an app for it, and the app is kind of a little bit easier for some people to use, so be aware of that. That is it for the rundown from microbiology. I know it was a lot, but I really hope it does help you understand a little bit what to expect for the course. And I actually do genuinely, I'm excited about this material. I'm really passionate about it, and I hope that I can share this with you guys. Hopefully that comes off. And I hope it's a little fun, at least a little fun. It usually is, so don't mope too much about it. And I will see you guys when I see you.